Hallo, ich heiße Jonna und heute lernen wir über Dativpräpositionen. Today we are going to learn about dative prepositions. So first, what are prepositions? For example, Toby is talking with his friend. With is considered a preposition. Or the neighbor watches TV after dinner. After is also a preposition. Claire goes to school. To is also a preposition. Now you notice that I underline with his friend because I want to indicate that this is actually a whole chunk. That's a unit that's called a prepositional phrase. So a preposition cannot stand really by itself. It always has to be connected with a noun somehow. So you can never separate a preposition with the noun. That's why it's called a prepositional phrase. Keep that in mind because now we are going to see how these sentences look in German. As you know already, in German we have gender and we have different case markings. So whenever we have to use a noun, we have to think what case and what gender is that noun. So let's take the first sentence. Toby is talking with his friend. With in German is mit. So in German this sentence would be Toby spricht mit seinem Freund. So Freund is a masculine noun and mit requires a dative case. So the masculine dative case ending is em. So we have to select mit seinem Freund. That's why this is all called a prepositional phrase. So let's go to the next sentence. The neighbor watches TV after dinner. In German we would say Der Nachbar sieht nach dem Essen fern. After in German is nach. And this preposition nach in German requires a dative case. So the following noun, the noun that immediately follows the preposition nach, has to appear in dative case. So Essen is a masculine noun and masculine dative would be nach dem Essen. The last example, Claire goes to school. In German we would say Claire geht zur Schule. Schule is a feminine noun and the dative feminine case is actually der. So if we have zu, that's the preposition that corresponds to English to. Zu plus der becomes zur. So it merges to one word. Zu plus der becomes zur. Let's move on. What are the dative prepositions? So here is a list of all dative prepositions. So in the prepositions or the words that are in italic, these are actually the dative prepositions. Please look at your book, at your textbook for the meaning of these prepositions. But here I just want to show you a way how to memorize these prepositions. Because you have to know what the dative prepositions are so you know when to apply the dative case for a noun that follows the dative preposition. So a very good way to memorize this kind of list of words is, for example, songs. So I will show you a song that will hopefully help you to memorize the dative prepositions. Aus bei mit nach, seid von zu, immer mit dem Dativ, immer nur mit Dativ, außer und gegenüber. Okay, so you can practice this song with your friend, for example, if you want to sing in a canon, or just singing and getting used to the melody and the lyrics. It will help you to memorize the prepositions. Another song I want to introduce to you is down here. So it's also a dative preposition song, and I just want to introduce it to you because maybe some of you heard it already. So just stick with what you have learned or what is more intuitive to you, what's easier to you, because the whole purpose of this is that you find a way to memorize all the dative prepositions. Okay, the second song goes Aus außer bei mit nach seid von zu. Aus außer bei mit. Okay, I think you got the tune. If you Google it, I found it also on YouTube. Maybe you are lucky too and will find it on YouTube too. Okay, so good luck with learning the dative prepositions. Now, knowing what the dative prepositions are, we need one more step, that is knowing what the actual dative case markings are. Okay, so this chart should somehow look familiar to you because you have already learned the nominative case and the accusative case and today we are going to use the dative case markers. Okay, so remember, for masculine dative, the case ending is em. The case ending for neuter dative is also em. For feminine gender, the dative case ending is er. And for plural, the dative case ending is en. Okay, so remember this because now we are going to practice it a little bit. So, for example, let's take the sentence, Ich gehe mit blank Vater ins Kino. I'm going with my dad into the movie theater. So mit is a dative preposition, and mit blank Vater is a prepositional phrase, so the noun immediately following the dative preposition has to appear in dative. Vater is a masculine noun, so what we need is a masculine dative case marker. Remember the chart? What is the case marker? That's em. So what we have is Ich gehe mit meinem Vater ins Kino. The second sentence, Tim kommt aus blank USA. USA is a plural noun. So what is the case marker for plural dative? It's en. So what we have to fill in here is Tim kommt aus den USA. The last one is Hannah arbeitet bei blank Post. Hannah is working at the post office. Post in this case is feminine. So what we need is the feminine dative case marker, because we have bei, that's a dative preposition, and that's why the immediately following noun needs a dative case marking. So feminine dative is er. So what we have is Hannah arbeitet bei der Post. Somehow I think the dative prepositions are a little bit easier, because whenever you see one of these dative prepositions, there's no question that what follows, the noun that follows, has to be in dative case. So it somehow helps you a little bit applying the case marking in German. So that's why I have the forever sign. These dative prepositions are somehow a little easier because they are forever dative. As soon as you see one of these dative prepositions, what has to follow is a dative case marker. So I hope this was helpful for you. Enjoy studying German and viel Erfolg. Tschüss!